This is episode number 104 with fitness and nutrition expert Kim Clinkenbeard. Hello everyone, I'm Julian Placino, and welcome to the Pathways to Success podcast, where I interview experts on leadership, personal development, business, health and fitness, and many other topics to help you find your unique pathway to success. Having a deep recruiting background, I leverage my ability to attract top performers and conduct in-depth interviews to uncover the secrets to success from a highly diverse group of experts, then share these lessons to help you find your unique pathway to success. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you soon on the Pathways to Success. This episode is brought to you by the book For You From Me, written by Raj Daniels. I featured Raj on episode 88 of the podcast and can genuinely say he's one of the most uniquely interesting and wise people I've ever met. He has a way of teaching practical advice through his captivating style of storytelling that will help you see the world in a whole new way. For You From Me is a collection of wisdom and inspiration that you can put into action. For You From Me is packed with years of Raj's unique insights, philosophies, and empowering viewpoints that will help you live a deeper and more meaningful life. I personally think of For You From Me as a lens to see the world in a more empowering way, as well as a practical guidebook to develop a fulfilling life strategy. So make sure to check out For You From Me at rajdaniels.com. That's RAJDANIELS.com. Welcome everyone back to the Pathways to Success podcast. Today on the show, I have Kim Clinkenbeard, and she is the author of Fitness, Food, Faith, Your Eternal Why for Everlasting Results, and the How to Eat Pie 2 Cookbook, which features deliciously healthy recipes from her award-winning cooking classes. Kim is also a monthly contributor for the health and wellness magazine Be Well Magazine. She's also a regular on the CBS lifestyle TV show Studio 7, where she shares her real-life solutions and tips for healthy living and cooking. So it's my pleasure to welcome the one, the only, Kim Clinkenbeard. Welcome to the Pathways to Success podcast. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very well. And a big shout out to our mutual connection, my cousin, Joshua Reyes.
I know. You got to love Josh. He is a big fan of Josh. He's my massage therapist. So shout out to him. He's awesome.
Yeah. I was wondering where that connection was. So you were actually one of his clients. You guys?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, Kim, let's kind of jump into things. So I guess give us a little bit more about your story and your background before you became this amazing public content creator.
Well, of course, as all things start, I made a collegiate twirler when I was a senior in high school, and they wanted me to lose 20 to 30 pounds to be able to twirl on the line there. And so that kind of sent me down that weight loss road. And ironically, I had always been super stringy and thin and skinny. And so it was really just a complete shock and surprise. And that led me into aerobics. And that's kind of how I got started into the fitness world. And then that also led me into eating disorders, which thank goodness I was not super great at. I liked to eat too much to really jump off into anorexia, and I didn't care to do, some of the other things, but that did really propel my interest into nutrition and how the body worked and weight loss and all of that good stuff. So out of something, maybe a negative experience, it really became a life-driving passion of mine that God has blessed me with throughout the course of my adult life. So I started getting certifications and education and studying and going to school and really just researching and trying to find solutions for myself, and figured out that, man, there's a lot of people out there who also need that kind of help and structure. And that's really what still propels me today to continue to learn and study and help others. So.
Wow, so it sounds like there was a definite transformation in your health and wellness journey. What would you contribute to that transformation? What was it?
Well, I had started competing in triathlon, and I had always been very flat-footed, and come to find out it was a structural deformity in my foot. And eventually doing the in ultra endurance sports, the Ironman kind of things, it just broke my foot down. And I ended up having to have a total reconstructive foot surgery with that, which at the same time, really, it literally put me in the chair for 3 months. I couldn't put any weight on my foot. And I basically sat in a recliner for 3 months, which allowed God to really just work on me and help me realize that I was using exercise and dieting in an unhealthy way to kind of try to cope with some issues or problems or self-worth issues mainly, that I wasn't coping with. And so I used that time that I wasn't able to exercise or really take care of myself to grow in my faith. And that really was the starting point of the relationship of your faith in your health in general, whether it's, you're an athlete or just a mom or an elderly person who's struggling with some health issues as they age, or even children. So it's really struggling in my own ways really helped me learn and connect the two together. So
Yeah, I see. And I know that was one of the points that you're very passionate about speaking on, how faith plays a vital role in your overall long-term health. So can you tell us a little bit about that connection there?
absolutely. So if you're just focused on weight loss or being the best that you can be in your fitness routine, or really growing on that, it's more of a self-centered focus. You're
Hmm.
really just wanting to look good in your swimsuit or impress that one person or win trophies or be the best in whatever it is you're trying to do health-wise, whether it's looks or competitiveness. And it's really a self-centered focus, which is okay. It's just not going to be a long-lasting focus. And when your reasons for doing something is totally dependent on looks or acceptance or success, that's eventually going to fail, because we just get tired and we get old or we get injured, or something's always going to be a roadblock and a stumbling block for us. But when you're why you're doing it and your reason is centered in something bigger than yourself and your own selfish reasons, then you're going to have something, a good solid foundation that you can completely rely on those hard times, because willpower and motivation is just going to get you so far. And so it's got to be a little bit bigger than looking good in the swimsuit, because there'll be those days where you get frustrated or sick or injured or something, and your willpower just goes to the wayside. It's just not a big enough reason for you to continue on. So there's got to be the faith there. You've got to have a reason and some self-worth in Christ, and understand that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and it was a gift to you to take care of, and that without a healthy mind and body, you're not really going to be able to live out your purpose as well as you could if you're sick and don't feel well and things of that nature.
Gotcha. So what have you discovered to be your reason, Kim? What's your why for doing the things that it is that you do?
I'm a big believer in lead by example, and also to be honest about it, because nobody's perfect, and so we're all going to stumble and fall on our face at times, but that's part of the beauty of it. And I found that by me making some mistakes and stumbling and struggling and sharing that with others, it at least very minimally, it could be something that people relate to and can motivate them to continue to go, and continue to move forward. And, it doesn't have to be a perfect journey. It just has to be a consistent moving forward journey. And so for me, I know that when I'm not exercising and moving my body, or if I'm not feeding it good foods, or I'm not getting enough sleep, that it really affects my mood. And once my mood's kind of in the blah blahs, then I'm just not as effective in my job. I'm not as effective at encouraging other people, or really just in my relationships at home and my family or friend relationships. I'm just not my best. And for me to be able to continue to help others, and even if it's just an encouraging word or leading by example, I need to feel my best in order to do that too. So I know other people feel that way as well. I just hear clients tell me all the time, I just don't feel good. I'm just frustrated all the time, or I feel like I just need to take naps all day. I just don't get anything done. I'm not as productive as I want to be. And it's really stems from not taking care of their body. And it's not that they don't want to, it's just maybe a lack of education or knowledge, or, they just don't know how to do it. So that is really my driving force, is to lead by example and really help others find their way, whether it's my way, or a different program, but something will work for everybody. It's just a matter of figuring out what that is.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let's learn a little bit more about your way and kind of jump into this book. So, Fitness, Food, Faith, Your Eternal Why for Everlasting Results. What inspired you to write this book, Kim?
I actually thought I wanted to open a restaurant. I've been teaching cooking classes and nutrition for many years, and that all those recipes and things led into a cookbook, but I just thought, I think I want to open a healthy restaurant. So I decided, instead of just jumping off into that venture like I normally do, I might want to learn a little bit about the restaurant business. And so I moved for a summer. I moved to Marathon, Texas, and I worked at the restaurant in the Gage Hotel there. And I learned in about the first 2 hours that I do not want to own a restaurant, but I had really known that I was supposed to be there and go through that process. And in the midst of doing that, I was living by myself there, away from my friends and my family, for about 9 weeks. And there was no TV. And so I was really studying and dove deep into the Bible, and God was just kept leading me to write this book. And I kept thinking, oh, that's so daunting. I don't really want to. And so, but it just was this overwhelming sense, an urgency that is just, I really need to just put all of this information that I've gathered over the past 26 or so years, all of my mess ups, because man, I have tried everything out there to lose weight, and put it in one usable source that people could find information and encouragement, and in one book that was easy to use for them, and that they could just really find an answer, or at least a direction. And so I just came home from that experience and started writing, and I actually just started recording things off my phone on the microphone notes pad. I think I wrote half my book by just recording myself talking, because every time I had a thought, I was either in the car or in the shower, or, somewhere I couldn't write things down. And so actually, I think I recorded about 70% of the book on my iPhone over here. So
that sounds like an efficient way to do it for people who can't just sit in front of a word processor and type. I'm one of those guys, right?
Seriously, that's my best advice right there. Just record your voice, and then it will type it out for you, and you can email it to yourself. It's so much easier.
Love it. Well, Kim, tell us a little bit more about the content of the book. What do you think your audience is going to get from reading this book?
So there's everything in the world in here. I've really divided it up into 3 sections: fitness, food, and faith section. And so within fitness, I talk about why you're supposed to exercise, and then I give information about how you're supposed to do that, how to pick the right program for you, what to do when you are sick, or you don't feel like exercising, or you don't feel like you have time. And really, I broke down what exercise does for the body, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally, and what reason God gave us to move our bodies. What is the point? Because for me, I know that there was a time where I didn't work out for 2 years, and I'm a trainer. And so I would train clients, but myself, I just didn't have it in me. And I just kept thinking, I just don't want to do it. And I thought, if I feel that way, I know other people do too. And so there had to be it goes always back to, it has to be bigger than having muscles or looking good in a swimsuit. So for me, that just wasn't important at that time anymore. I just didn't care. So I really focused on, in that section, giving specific reasons why so people could understand it. And then also, supplements and what I recommend and the confusion about that. And then we dive into the food section, which deals with diets and detoxes and basic nutrition and what it does and what things mean, the definitions of vitamins and minerals and how to get those. And again, tapping back into my story about some eating disorders and struggles that I had with binge eating and emotional eating, and really how that was not about food itself. It was a deeper issue. And basically, it breaks down anything scientific or basic nutrition information, how to buy organic, if you should or shouldn't, gluten-free. And so you get that basic information that people all want. But then in the faith section, I really dive into why, how food is related to us spiritually, how God uses food to help us understand, and exercise, help us understand how to interrelate with each other, and how God loves us, and what the body is designed to do, and how it's a sit down and eat kind of situation can be something that brings us together, and it crosses all boundaries and barriers because everyone understands food. And so it can connect you to people that you would never maybe meet or connect with in any other environment. And it's really an awesome tool, and it doesn't have to be your enemy, because a lot of times I viewed food as the enemy, and what a disservice that is, because God created food for us to enjoy and congregate over and celebrate together. And it's a very important part of every culture across the board, no matter your age or race or gender or location. So this book's, hopefully my idea for this book is to make it a simple source that you can get tons of information on fitness and food to help you be healthier, but also give you enough information that you can establish a deep-rooted, strong foundational why that's not just for selfish reasons of looking good or feeling better, which are fine reasons too, but it can't be your primary focus. So that was really kind of my hope for the book, was that it was a usable resource.
Gotcha. Well, let's give just a few kind of actual takeaways about, each of these kind of topics here. So in terms of fitness, Kim, like if there was just one tip that you could give someone with the intent to help them live a healthier lifestyle, like what do you think that one tip might be?
Well, in terms of fitness, is just don't make it overcomplicated. I'm the master of overcomplicating things.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to start exercising every day for an hour, and I'm going to do weights and all that. And I set myself up for failure when I do that. Maybe I don't have that time. Maybe I don't have a full hour. Maybe I don't have access to a gym or weights, or I don't have the education to do that, or knowledge to make it an efficient program. And it's just, I don't have an hour to carve out of the day. But I've decided that that's what so-and-so did, so I should be able to do that too. And instead, I don't quite make it. Maybe I only could do 2 days that week, and maybe I could only do 20 minutes. And so in hindsight, because I didn't do an hour 6 days a week, I failed. So my biggest thing that I try to teach my clients is, set yourself up for success, whether it's in exercise or nutrition or studying or writing a book or starting a new business or something. Don't overcommit yourself. While the intentions are good, you're setting yourself up for failure. So just backtrack it a little bit and just say, I haven't exercised at all in 3 years. So instead of an hour every day, I'm going to try to incorporate 3 days, 15 minutes for 3 days. And it's really cumulative. So it's better to exercise 15 minutes every day than exercise really hard for an hour 1 day a week and then You just don't have time to do it. So you get frustrated and you quit. So just baby steps is my biggest takeaway. Do something you enjoy. If you like riding your bike, or think back to when you were a kid, if you loved playing basketball or frisbee, or if you have a pet and you can walk your dog, start there. Make it fun and enjoyable, and set yourself up to succeed in that and not be bombarded with over expectations. So same
Gotcha.
with food. Pick one meal to change in your diet. If you're eating out every meal, say, this week I'm going to focus on breakfast, and I'm going to hire a nutritionist, or I'm going to get this cookbook, or I'm going to get this program, or do whatever program they decide. I'm not really trying to sell you into my program necessarily. I do have a way, but if you found something that works for you and you enjoy, keep doing that. But focus on one little thing. Don't start an exercise program for an hour every day and a 180-degree diet plan that you're not used to, and you're trying to cook every meal. I mean, that's just not realistic. So focus on one meal. That one meal, getting it right. And even though the other ones maybe are exactly the same, you're still eating out lunch and dinner. You're making progress if you're tackling breakfast and making that healthy. And then you'll start seeing results. You'll start feeling better. And that'll give you more motivation to start working on lunch. And then, in a week or two, then start working on supper. And it's really just baby steps in all of that. Same with faith. Start reading your Bible, just 5 minutes. And then that can turn into 10, but we all want to be fixed overnight, and we kind of, decide that we're going to do this all out 100% program that no one can do, right? So
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, Kim, is there anything else that you'd like us to know about the book, or any other tips that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, I think just mainly use this book. I've got some really fun little tips and strategies in the book that I think people will really enjoy. I go really big into journaling as well. And when you purchase the book, I offer 4 free bonuses for you to get. So you go order your book on Amazon, you go back to the fitnessfoodfaith.net website, and I've given you a smoothie recipe book that's got all my favorite smoothies in there. It's an ebook, so I've been able to embed the video instructional videos to it, so you can actually watch how to make certain things, or cut up a pineapple, or those kinds of things within that ebook. And then I give you a detox diet. It's a 1 to 5 day detox diet. It's with real food. It's not super hard. It's not a cleanse, or just, you just drink tea or something like that. It's very nutritional. You'll get all your needs, but that's something to help kind of propel you forward in your health journey. And then you also get, well, my favorite thing about it is my Fitness, Food, and Faith journal. I'm very big into journaling, whether you do it handwrite it, or you do it on your phone or app or whatever, but for reflection, because it's really easy to lose sight of how far you've come in your progress. And if you haven't reached your goal just yet, it can get discouraging if it seems like it's really far away. And if you're journaling, you can reflect back and say, you know what? I have made huge leaps and bounds. I am moving forward. I am progressing. And that's cool. Or if you get off track and you're like, I don't know what happened, and I don't remember what I was doing when I felt good, you can reflect back into that journal and say, oh yeah, I was doing this, and I stopped doing that. So I can really, start doing this again, and get back on track that way. So that's probably my favorite thing. It's got little motivational quotes and scriptures at the top of the page, and I show you exactly what to journal and what I recommend to track and keep progress with. And then there's the one other thing within the book itself is one of my favorite things I do with my clients. It's called the Pick Me Up Jar. And, it sounds kind of corny, but on my website, I've listed out several scriptures that help remind me of who I am and what God says, and that, I am loved, and that it is possible, and that it is okay, and some really encouraging quotes and things like that. And then you put them in this jar. And so when you're having kind of a down day or a like just a frustrated moment, I can go into that jar and pull out one of those, and it's a good reminder for that day. And I can write it on my mirror or post it on the refrigerator, and it's a good reminder throughout the day that I am doing good. I am making progress, and it keeps my head on straight and helps, my clients be able to stay on track and just stay motivated to keep moving forward in a positive direction and not, slide back into maybe negative self-talk or negative thoughts or give up on their goals. So those are kind of my favorite things about the books as well.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Kim, what's the best way for people to connect with you, to follow you, to tell us all your social?
Yeah, so I do live videos on Facebook quite often, at least twice a week, and that ranges up to all sorts of different things. If people send me questions and comments, then I try to really answer those or do a video on it. Lots of cooking videos and fun little nutrition things in there too. So definitely look me up on Facebook. You can follow me there. I'm on Instagram and YouTube as well. And if you want to see kind of my blog and what I'm all about, you can certainly get on my website, getfitwithkimtoday.com, and I post blogs there as well, and usually my articles and TV spots and stuff are also uploaded to my website. And I love to connect with people, and I would love for people to contact me and ask me questions and interact with me. And if they have, the book and they read it and they want to interact and interject and ask questions about that, I'd love it. So I'm very open and available, and I try to get back with people as much as possible. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram are probably my two predominant ways of communicating. So be sure to look me up on that.
Awesome. Well, Kim, we'll make sure to have all this in the show notes as well so they can connect with you in all your social places. And I want to thank you personally so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your thought leadership. It has absolutely been amazing.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Pathways to Success podcast. As always, make sure to subscribe, comment, and share. And we'll see you next week on the next episode of the Pathways to Success.